Hi everyone, my name is Amalina. Welcome to another episode of Empowering People, Enabling Business. Thanks for listening in. I'm your host. I'm a training coordinator and section manager of the Learning Support Services section in Genashtim. So today we have a delightful topic to discuss. We're going to be diving into the world of digitalization, technology, and in particular, Genashtim's remote IT support department. So who better to talk about digitalization and technology than our Chief Technical Officer? So we have him here with us today, Genashtim's CTO, Ryan Allegado. Hi, Ryan. How's it going?
Hi, Amalina. How are you?
I'm good. I'm
Feeling
very
good,
well.
yeah.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for sharing your time with us and coming on board. Now, fun fact, Ryan is actually one of the longest serving staff members in Genashtim. So you were actually one of the very first people employed by the company, right?
Yeah, I started in 2009 as executive assistant to the CEO at that time. Then after several years, I was promoted as manager of the IT department, which was later on evolved as a service called Abled Online, which we are going to discuss later on. And after that, I was also assigned as head of the production department and now as the CTO.
I was going to say introduce yourself and tell us a bit about your career development, but you did that already very eloquently. So thank you.
Yeah, okay. Sorry about that.
No worries.
I was so excited.
No worries. So yeah, it seems like in your career you've kind of been involved in the fields of IT and technology, digitalization in the company. But correct me
Mm.
if I'm wrong, Ryan, but you were actually never trained in computer science or you don't hold any professional certificate in IT.
Yeah, basically, I was able to develop my IT skills through experience. And also, it was my passion. I've been interested with computers even during my younger years. At an early stage, I love computers. There's something with these devices that I like. I don't know. So before joining Genash team, I was able to set up a small business, which is a computer shop. So I've been providing some work like graphics design, computer repair at that time. That's why it has become my passion, and probably that also helped me to develop further my skill. So it has been a good experience for me, and it has been an advantage as well because through my skills I was able to be employed in Genash team.
As you were speaking there, I could sense and feel our listeners fuming with jealousy because I could hear them say, wait, Ryan gets to have his hobby as his job? That's unfair.
Yeah, yeah, that's right.
Right.
And it's good that my passion is also what I do as a work is good experience as well.
That's true. I consider this a great opportunity for me to speak with you because I like to speak to the more
Mhm.
senior people in the company because I get to learn of the company's history through people who actually have been there as themselves at the start and have seen
Mhm.
firsthand how the changes that the company has underwent, right?
Yeah.
So, over the years, Genashtim has opened up various departments and offered new services to our clients. And for those who don't know, we've actually had to change our company name because of that. Initially we were called Genashtim Innovative Learning because our
Yes,
business at that time was primarily in e-learning.
that's right.
But now, because of we're doing so many things and we're dipping our feet into new services, venturing in different fields, we just dropped the innovative learning
Mhm.
part of our name and we just go by Genashtim, right?
Yeah.
But what was it like and what was the business plan when you first joined? Was Genashtim founded in digitalization field?
Well, actually, Genastim, I would say, is an early adopter in terms of digitalization and the remote work concept as well, right? But
Mm.
during that time, the idea is to providing these types of e-learning, and the concept behind is that we can reach more people, and also
Mm.
it would be like the concept of providing the e-learning platform for people that are not capable of going to places to study. So we came up to this plan of providing these online services. One of them during the early times is the Epic Online, which is a one-on-one English tutorial service. And also, of course, the other services, the Cornell, which is an e-learning course that is provided for executives. And at that time, we're thinking of developing other services aside from that. So that's where it started to evolve into providing digital services.
Right, right. And we can see that the evolution of Genashtim from a business standpoint, I would say that we've been able to evolve in tandem with the current times. For example, the Learning Support Services, or LSS for short, we were founded in late 2020. And our main job scope is to manage and facilitate online training programs and webinar hosting. And then, another department would be the ESG department, which was also founded in late 2020. And of course, ESG, we talk about sustainability and CSR. So these terms and these two departments, you probably wouldn't hear of them 10, 15 years ago, right? And
Yeah.
one of the services that we offer is, the 24/7 remote IT support that we call Abled Online. Right?
Mm.
How did that come about? How did the idea emerge?
Well, Abled Online started actually as the IT department of the company. Back then, we have very few remote IT technicians at the time, probably three only. Then, as we provided remote IT support to our staff, we have developed certain processes and we have improved the operations. This made us realize that maybe this will become a potential business, providing remote IT support to companies. So, this led us to the creation of Abled Online. We marketed this paid service to prospect clients and we are able to get clients for these services. As a company that operates 100% remotely, as I've said a while ago, we are considered as early adopters of remote work and digitalization, and that includes our IT support. And then later on, as we develop our processes, we have also provided additional services like the CCTV monitoring. Now,
Mm.
we provide CCTV monitoring to a nursing home in Singapore. So our team is in charge of monitoring the cameras, the CCTV cameras on the nursing home. And we do this during nighttime where the people are not around. And this service actually replaced the guards on the nursing home. They don't need any more guards during nighttime. So that's one of the services that was able to develop through Abled Online.
Right. Yeah, so you mentioned you're doing the CCTV for nursing home. So was it like in the early days, you're fixing or doing the IT support for clients back then? Because at that time, 2009, the advancements in technology isn't as great as it is now. So how was work then? What were you
Well, back
doing?
then, yeah, during the early times, we don't have yet that many clients. But at that time, actually, remote IT support is already possible. But during those days, of course, because of the technology that is available at that time, the methods and the tools are quite different if you compare it to the current one. Right? Many years ago, remote IT support was provided over the phone. So technicians would call the client and provide instructions on how to fix their issues, ask questions about their problems, and provide them some methods on how to do it. So basically, that's how remote IT support is done before. Of course, that is only applicable for basic issues, right? So at that time, when there's a complex issue that needs to be addressed, that is not possible for calls, then they have to bring the computer to the repair shop. That's how computer remote IT support is done before. And then later on, as VoIP or messaging applications was used, now we can provide a better service because we can screen share and then we can see the computer of the client on screen, right? Of course, as technology develops, there are now modern types of tools that can be used for remote access. So basically, these tools allow our technicians to be able to access the computer of the client as they are in front of the client's PC. That's how remote IT support evolved. There's really a big difference from years before than what we have now.
Yeah, I remember those days when we had to use the phone
Mhm.
to call IT
Yes.
support. It was difficult for myself, who is
Mhm.
vision impaired, right? So because having the technician on the phone and telling me what to do, I mean, it doesn't
Yes,
help
yes.
because I can't see what's on my screen.
That's right.
Right.
That's right.
So
Mm.
the alternative was to bring it to a repair shop. which then also would be difficult in terms of mobility for me as well. So now
Mhm.
having this tool that the technicians can just work on my screen without
Mhm.
even being physically with me, that is
Yeah,
just remarkable, actually.
amazing. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
And the good thing is that you can do other stuff while the technician is working on your PC, right? So you don't have to be spending a lot of time doing nothing, right?
exactly. Just while
Mhm.
looking at the screen. Yeah, exactly.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
The name Abled Online is actually a spin on the fact that team members in the team are actually PWDs or persons with disabilities or people who come from marginalized communities, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
So, how do the PWDs work in the team and how has it empowered them as individuals?
Um, at first, Abled Online was exclusive for persons with disabilities because at the time we wanted to provide employment opportunities to persons with disabilities.
Mm.
And doing remote IT support basically doesn't require you to be you don't have to have a college degree in order to do that. A good experience will give you already an advantage of being a technician. And then later on, we realized that we cannot really like full 100% rely on PWDs, right? So we decided to open up to other marginalized sectors like the refugees. So
Mm.
basically, this provide an opportunity also for employment for other marginalized community. Yeah, and then this has evolved into a bigger project which actually lead the way of developing other digital services that employs persons with disabilities. I believe that through this type of remote work, persons with disabilities or people who are disadvantaged are able to contribute or work efficiently and can become their sustainable livelihood as well.
Right, right. Okay. We pride ourselves on being a fully functioning company that operates 100% remotely, right?
Mhm.
But actually, when Genashtim was first founded, we actually had a small office in the Philippines, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, that's right.
So, what led to the transition to operate remotely?
Genashtim, a company that values diversity and inclusion, recognized the challenges faced by some of its employees with disabilities. So, at that time, the company had one employee who was visually impaired, and she requires the assistance of her mother to get to work. Imagine her mother would have to stay at the office all day because their home was far away and it would take several hours to travel back and forth just to drop her daughter off. Of course, this was not ideal arrangement, but it was the only way for the employee to come to work. We also had another employee who is on a wheelchair, and same thing, he faced difficulties in commuting to the office. So the only convenient mode of transportation for a wheelchair user is taxi. However, taxis were expensive and finding taxi drivers who were willing to accommodate passengers with wheelchairs was a challenge.
Yeah.
To address this issue, the company arranged for a driver to pick up the employee from his home and drop him off at work, as well as provide transportation back after office hours. While the company was able to make arrangements to accommodate the needs of these employees, it recognized that these were not practical solutions. These arrangements required additional resources and did not address the underlying issues that these employees and others face during their daily commute to the office. Imagine long travel times, traffic, and the physical demands of commuting often left employees feeling drained and less productive. Not only that, the time wasted during the commute was also a concern for the company. So, as a result, the company made the decision to switch to 100% remote work. This allowed all employees to work from the comfort of their homes and then eliminating the challenges associated with commuting. This decision not only addressed the challenges faced by PWD employees but also improved the daily commute experience of all employees in general. The company recognized that the remote work setup was not only a practical solution but also a more sustainable approach to work that could benefit everyone in the long run.
Right. But would you say it was a hard transition for you guys at the start back then? No, I'm asking because 3 years ago, the world was shaken due to the COVID-19 virus, and the world was put on hold for a long time, so to say.
Yeah.
So, we saw the impact it had on businesses. Companies were scrambling, trying to figure out how to keep their businesses running or even alive at that point.
Mm-hmm.
And, unfortunately, we saw companies who had to cease operations and had to be shut down because they just couldn't handle the loss. But we also saw companies who managed to stay
Mm.
alive and keep their operations running. And a huge factor was because they figured out how to convert part of their operations
Yeah.
to be done remotely. So it is possible. Right? But do you have advice for those companies who are thinking of maybe adopting a hybrid
Mm.
work setup?
Actually, it's all about mindset. First, you have to believe on the system. Otherwise, you will not be able to make it or you will not succeed. So it's about mindset. You believe that it is workable and you have already thought of processes on how you do things remotely. Like you have to really think of how you do your business remotely. You just have to identify what are the tasks that are being done. And if these tasks can be done remotely, then it's possible, right? Of course, this has to be totally depending on the business that you are providing. We're talking about Genashtim providing digital services, right? So basically, digital services rely on computer and the internet and doesn't require any physical office. Of course, if your business is manufacturing, then it is required to have a physical office, right? And probably part of your workforce can do remote work, but not 100%. So it's
Right,
about
right.
my mindset and believing in that this system will work for you and your business will not be affected if you go remotely and then
Mhm.
you figured out already the processes, then it will work out.
Yeah, I think it's the fear of the worry of the effects it will have on the business. But you said it yourself,
Mm.
certain departments can work remotely. For example, maybe the back end departments like finance or even
Yeah.
HR.
And yeah, as I've said, you have to be a believer of the system. Because I remember previously during the early days, our CEO would always mention about his executive secretary working in other country while he is traveling. And that was me at the time, was able to manage all his schedules and everything. Right, while his friends who are also CEOs are bringing along their executive assistants while they travel. So many of them really amazed how is it possible, they cannot figure out or they cannot imagine themselves without having their executive assistants with them and still doing the stuff for them. So it's about your mindset again. You have to believe on the system before it will work for you.
Exactly. I mean, the mere fact that you and I are having this conversation in two different locations is already
Mm,
a testament to the
that's
system,
right.
right? I mean,
That's right.
usually how people would record podcasts would be they would be together in one space and talk to each other, right? But you
Yeah.
are in the Philippines, I'm in Malaysia, and we're having this conversation. So the
Yeah.
system works.
That's right. That's
Right.
right.
So now, just going back to Abled Online, right? So in LSS, we deal with customers on a daily basis, and it is inevitable that from time to time we do face or we do encounter difficult customers. And I would assume it's the same with Abled Online, or even more so because you have to run it 24/7.
Yeah.
So,
Mm.
what are the challenges, would you say, having to maintain a round the clock service?
Providing a 24/7 IT support service would, of course, depend on your manpower if you have enough manpower to do it. Also, the challenges would be the time zone differences. You have to hire people in different time zones in order for you to cater a 24/7 service. Also, technical challenges, right? You have to have a team member who are always looking for knowledge because the reality is that technology is developing so fast and the tools are developing so fast as well. So you have to watch out for new things in order for you to cope up with the technology. Another concern would be cybersecurity, right? Because we rely so much in the internet and technology, we are always watching over the security measures that we are doing in the company as well as to the clients. So those are the challenges. Of course, as you mentioned, difficult clients, right? Well, you just have to train the staff to do customer service, how to handle irate clients and different attitudes of clients.
Right. Now, come on, right? You gotta give it the juice. You gotta share with us some of the bad experiences Able Online had with regards to customers and clients.
Well, of course, we have clients that complains a lot and they are not happy with the service. And basically, one of the challenges of our IT technicians is that sometimes they don't know how to fix the issues, right?
Mm.
Because there are always issues cropping up. Sometimes
Mm.
it's beyond your knowledge already. So you have
Right.
to do some research. It will take time to source out some fixes to the problems. So those are the challenges and emotions of clients. You have to handle their anger, frustrations, impatient, all those things.
Right.
So those are the challenges that we face, I mean, on a daily basis.
Right. Well, at least it's remote work. You don't have to be physically with that person. Right. So yeah, we touched on the benefits of remote work previously. So I mean, for me myself, I find remote work to be incredibly great for me
Mm,
because as a visually impaired person, I get to work in my own space where I'm comfortable from home.
yeah.
Whereas if I'm in a physical office, the accommodations might not be in place for me, especially when
Mhm.
using a computer. I use a screen reader, and
Yes.
that's the only way I can navigate a computer. If I
Mhm.
don't have a screen reader, it's almost impossible for me to do my
Yeah.
work. And I have applied to certain companies who come back and saying you are qualified for the job, but we
Mhm.
can't provide the accommodations for you. Well, then
Yeah.
that I can't work for you in that case, right? Um,
Mhm.
so for me, I can use my own laptop where I can tweak it to the way I can work with it comfortably and then use the tools that I need to do
Mhm.
my work efficiently. And the fact that I have a newborn baby and that working from home, I get to be with her, right?
Yes.
And I have attachment issues. So being away from
Yeah.
my daughter would be incredibly hard for me. Um,
Mhm.
but yeah, what would you say the benefits are working remotely for you?
As you mentioned, you also benefit from this work from home or remote work system, right? I myself, as a PWD, by the way, I'm on a wheelchair and I have limited hand movements as well. And at the same time, I have some visual impairment. Come to think of it, right? If I'm going to apply for a job somewhere else, I might not be able to be considered because of my disability. I mean, accessibility is number one factor at that. So remote work breaks the barrier in terms of accessibility. This provides you an opportunity to work in the comforts of your home. It provides you flexibility, as you mentioned. Parents who have to take care of their child can work at the same time while taking care of their children, right? As long as you have internet connection, you have your computer, that's all that you need in order to work remotely. It also provides work-life balance, right? I mean, you are with your family while working. You don't have to travel to far places to work. Secondly is cost, right? Travel costs. It's already an advantage. You don't have to spend money for transportation or gasoline, right? I also believe that working from home provides you the ability to be more productive. I would say productive is that here in the Philippines, in case you need to go to the office, you have to travel 2 hours or more because of traffic. Imagine yourself being stuck in the traffic, right? And then waking up early morning just to be on time with your work. You arrive at the office very tired already just because you have traveled so far away. I mean, that would decrease your productivity because you're tired already.
Yeah.
Also, you could basically customize your workspace according to your need, especially if you have disability. You can choose the position you want to work comfortably. You want to work on the floor, your bed, lying down. You can basically do it, right? I mean, it's all up to you. As long as you can do the task, then it doesn't matter whether you're working upside down or
Or the
it's up to
location, work
you.
in the kitchen,
Yeah,
work in
kitchen, yeah.
the washroom.
Yeah, you can join meeting while you're cooking, right?
Yeah.
So remote work is really nice and has a lot of benefits for individuals, especially to people with disability and people who cannot travel, people with limitations, right? So yeah,
Yeah.
another advantage is that people with different backgrounds can basically work. I mean, it doesn't have to be all Filipinos, all Malaysians, because you have to go to the same office, right?
Yeah. No, I do agree because I learn about a lot of cultures working here because my
Mhm.
colleagues are from different parts of the world, as far as
Yes.
South America, even. And actually, you mentioned PWD. Sometimes we don't even realize that our colleagues are PWDs, because
Agree,
of
agree.
the quality of work that they produce. You think
Yes.
they can do just as well as able people. And you might not
That's
even
right.
know that they're actually disadvantaged, right? So,
Mhm.
you mentioned just now about the traffic in the Philippines, right, and how it takes hours to get to your office. I actually lived in the Philippines for a while because my dad was stationed there. And I
Mhm.
remember one of his colleagues, he bought a police siren to put on
Uh,
top of his car. So every time he was late, he would turn it on, and then, the
yeah.
cars would make way for him to get to work.
Yeah, I mean, traffic is terrible, especially nowadays. So it's really terrible. So imagine wasting so many hours every day just for traffic if you go to work physically.
Right. How has the digitalization services evolved over the years, do you think? And has there been any memorable moments in your time in Genashtim?
Yeah, one of them is when I represented Genashtim in Tokyo, Japan. That was in 21st of November 2010. We joined a contest initiated by Universal Ventures Business in Japan. This is sponsored by 40 plus corporate sponsors, and one of them is the Nippon Foundation. So I presented during that time the service of Abled Online. During the presentation, I showed them how we can do remote IT support while I'm in Japan and then accessing somebody's PC here in the Philippines at the time. So the people are very amazed at the time. It was witnessed by different medias in Japan. We won the first prize during this contest, and 22nd of November, that was the awarding part where they announced the winners. And that was actually my birthday. So it's a very, very good birthday for me. Okay.
Wow.
So yeah, after the awarding, we have a small gathering together with the media and the winners. They prepared some snacks for us. They know that it's my birthday, so we celebrated together with them.
Awesome.
It's really very memorable for me.
Awesome. Awesome. We're nearing the end of our session here, but I can't leave you, Ryan, without asking you about AI. Right.
Mhm.
Artificial intelligence is the talk of the town now, and it's already
Mhm.
made a stamp in our personal and professional
That's right.
lives,
Mhm.
right? So, how do you see the future landscape with AI, and how will it be affecting our services?
Okay. Well, the development of technology and AI is expected to have a significant impact on the future of the business, particularly in terms of services that companies can offer. There will be a lot of automation technologies to continue to advance, right? And businesses will surely rely on these automation tasks. And this would free up some of the tasks being done by employees so they could rely on other more creative work or more complex tasks that AI cannot do. And also personalizations. AI and machine learning technologies can be used to analyze large amounts of data to create personalized experience for customers. This enables businesses to better understand their customers' needs and preferences and tailor their services accordingly. Chatbots and other customer service tools will become more sophisticated and are able to communicate to clients. So, customer service can be provided round the clock without having a dedicated employee to be manning the help desk. The increasing sophistication of cyber attacks will lead to greater investment in cybersecurity technologies. This requires AI-powered threat detections and response tools, of course, because as technology develops and AI is developed, surely there will be a lot of more advanced cyber threats. I would say overall, the development of technology and AI is likely to lead to a more efficient, personalized, and secure services for the businesses. by leveraging these technologies, company can basically stay ahead of the competition and meet the evolving needs of the customers. Yeah.
AI is incredibly useful, but it's also
Mm.
incredibly scary. If you think about job security,
Mm.
especially for us PWDs, we've worked so hard to try to get to the same level as the abled
Yeah.
community in terms of opportunities and employment. But now, with AI, now we have to compete against robots as well. So
Uh,
we can't catch a break.
yeah, but I think there's still some certain tasks that requires the human touch, right? I mean,
True.
some of them like, creative work. Although I'm aware that there has been AIs now that can create basically some design concepts, but still you need to have creative people to look at these things, right? So just like any other technology, there will always be a benefit and a disadvantage.
True, true. All right. Awesome stuff, Ryan. So that is the end of our podcast. And thank you so much, Ryan, for coming and joining us today. I've gained a lot of valuable insights from you, and I hope our listeners have gotten some key takeaways as well. So, to our listeners out there, thank you so much for tuning into this episode of our podcast. If you enjoyed the content, don't forget to hit that subscribe button to stay updated with our latest episodes. In our next installment, we have a very special guest who will be sharing insights on how companies can embark on their ESG journey. So we hope you'll join us then for another informative and engaging discussion. So until next time, take care, stay safe, and stay curious. Bye bye.